usual teams who has some pretty spicy warm-ups. But another team I would definitely pay attention to is gonna be the German team.
Would you say they've got something in store for us? Something really, really good?
They've got some good bangers in store for us, I'd say. It's pretty much gonna rival the Polish memes, I think.
Seems like almost every country has like their own theme or anthem or some sort of country-based meme to play for warm-up.
Yeah, and that actually concludes the warm-up because our team completely failed out. It doesn't matter too much in the warm-ups. I mean, it is warm-ups just after all. There's gonna be one more warm-up, and then we'll jump right into the match. Kano, are there any rule changes compared to last ODWC which people can expect?
None that I'm too familiar with. Besides the change in the map pool.
Yeah, there's a huge change in the map pool size, which gives a bit more incentive and focus towards the mod-specific brackets. And in general, there's not really too big of a change. It's still there's one ban for each team, and people just are gonna pick maps from whatever bracket they feel like. Free mod still requires 2 mods, nothing special there. Just to catch up with people who have been watching a lot of community tournaments, but which have so many varying rules, it's sometimes hard to just keep up with all the rules. But OWC is staying a little bit more consistent over the years, well, except for the graphical interfaces you currently see. That's having a big change there.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, there's all sorts of different rule sets going throughout other tournaments. I mean, we've seen some other ones go through an entire draft. We've seen different rule sets for free mod and whatnot, where hard rock is a forced modification, or it's a minimum requirement.
Yeah, forcing people to pick one hard rock and one hidden. A lot of these different iterations, and the Corsairs tournament, for example, just having a map draft idea. There's a lot of really interesting ideas, which might just get tested in the community tournaments, and maybe one day will get picked up at the World Cup. Alright, I don't think you need my translation for this one, Kano, for this wall.
What, for the mapper name? It's just Suki Nathan. But yeah, definitely a spicy warm-up. Nice, good tech pick. I mean, even the last map was kind of on the side. But yeah, by the looks of things, I would say this is most likely Korea's warm-up.
Yeah, pretty standard warm-up, which is a little bit techy. There's a few jumps, has a few streams here, and this has a slight speed up after the first third, I believe. Well, this is only the second warm-up. Players can pick whatever they want. They can show off if they want to. They can maybe try to go for a warm-up. I mean, there's different ideas you can really have from warm-ups in general, because you can try to pick maps similar to the ones in the pool in terms of difficulty as well, so you can kind of gauge the prowess or skill set of an enemy team. Like, for example, if you have an alternate map in the pool and you're not unsure whether you want to really pick alternate maps or if you want to ban it, then you might just pick something in similar difficulty as a warm-up to kind of see how good players really are. Because if they're gonna side read FC the alternate pick, you probably do not want to pick it.
Yeah, definitely. I think in this situation, both of those teams should have been going for more of those picks, like, in order to find out what kind of maps that they are good at. So, using something similar to what's in the groups probably wouldn't be the worst idea for warm-ups when, you don't really have much information about each of your opponents.
Yeah, it is definitely one way to gain a little bit of an advantage or more information for the match, but most of these players are just playing ODWC for fun. They're probably not in it to completely win it, because just looking by the sheer quality of the roster, people maybe just some key players didn't sign up. I mean, I think Belgium, for example, is the 32nd seed, so it's pretty much the lowest seed. Just barely made it in, and it's the first time they made it in. And they're probably just here to enjoy the games and have fun, and maybe try their best to get out of group stage, which is gonna be a hard task in a group, that's for sure.
Yeah, as you mentioned, first time that they've made it in quite some time. I believe 2013 was the last time that we saw Belgium in the World Cup. So, I mean, maybe they've signed up in previous years, but they just haven't met that threshold. But with that said, you know, this time they've made the threshold, but they are pretty much the complete underdogs in this situation, being number 32. The very last seed that just squeezed through.
Yeah, there's no more, it's not possible to be any more under than these underdogs. Like, this is pretty much, they have every other single team to beat in this tournament.
Yeah, I think if anything though, Belgium's best chance of getting through is definitely the group stage. Isn't too complicated, but we have seen some, based on the previous performance between Australia and Norway, we have seen that there's been some slight, misses on all sorts of maps. I mean, Norway didn't have the best of performances, but not the worst either.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the warm-up pick, for example, this one is a pretty tough map, I have to admit. Probably gonna be, in terms of difficulty, like a quarterfinals map pool stage, or maybe a semi-finals. And Flying Tuna is hidden hardworking it, and Bashir is also hardworking it. You see Flying Tuna actually getting... He did miss like 200 combo though, he got like a 1.6 hit combo, which is pretty good. There's still a few FC, well, just one more. Just want to see Hanori did break at the end, but Selena did pull out NFC, which is pretty good. 8-100s.
Yeah, I would have to say, based on that warm-up, it would probably be in Belgium's best interest to ban out one of the... Just with how Flying Tuna performed on that with Hidden Hard Rock, that is a ridiculous right there.
Yeah, one thing you can definitely abuse when you're a really good team is you can just go free mod and maybe just 4-man Hidden Hard Rock the song. Because the earlier stage maps aren't going to be too tough and are definitely Hard Rock FCable, or Hidden Hard Rock FCable. And that would be definitely one way to kind of combat having an easy pool. But there are some tough picks in there where you can definitely break. So sometimes just having a 4-man FC is going to be enough to give you the win. Alright, people are going to ban, it's going to start, and the Belgian team is going to ban Hokiboshi, which is the fastest map in the pool. It's the first T pick, pretty much just there to be fast, and fast. Did I mention it has to be fast? So, not a bad ban against South Korea, let's be honest. South Korea in general has a very high mechanical skill, and if you have people like Flying Tuna on your team, that's just gonna be the mechanical skill is gonna be bolder in that case.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see whether or not the Belgium lineup has decent enough players. But I mean, at the same time, if they're going for a double time ban, maybe they don't really want to play that against South Korea. So it makes sense. And I mean, when you see someone like Flying Tuna on the opposite team, along with Kelmo and many others, DT is probably not a bad.
Yeah, Belgium is probably going to try to play easier maps and try to win on a 4-1 FC, because South Korea is most likely going to 4-1 FC in every map, or at least Belgium has to expect it. If they don't, it's gonna be a nice surprise, but even if like one guy misses out of the South Korean team, Belgium needs to 4-man FC or perform better than that. So in essence, it's best if you just expect your opponents to 4-man FC every map and try to combat that, and just be genuinely surprised when you win. I mean, positively, don't be genuinely surprised. I mean, you gotta have at least a bit of confidence in your skill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you still want to go for a 4-man FC if possible in any tournament, realistically speaking.
Ooh,
yeah, we're going to be getting into
ban coming in Halequin. What do you think about this ban?
I think it's not a bad ban. I mean, obviously Belgium did have a Hard Rock player in there on both of those rounds, both of those warm-up. Maybe South Korea has been doing a little bit of, studying of their opponent, trying to find out if they're good at Hard Rock or not, and I mean, it's not a bad idea. Maybe it could be something that they're weak at, though. We could be seeing the same thing that we talked about earlier, where the teams are just going for bans that they're weak at and picks that they're strong at.
Yeah, it's also a very specific niche pick which has low BPM streams, and it's just really hard to egg properly in general, which requires some really good egg players like Young, for example, who's unfortunately missing from this year's South Korean roster.
Yeah, Young definitely a really standout tournament player. I mean, we've seen outstanding performances from him recently in many communities. So yeah, they're definitely down one of their big juggernauts this time around. But with that said, they've got some more on the line.
Yeah, and this time they're gonna first pick Indifferences, which is too surprising, I think. Because it is one of... Well, it is a nomad map, so it's an easy way to ease into the match. As I mentioned earlier, picking a nomad and losing on one isn't going to give your opponent too much information, because the other nomads are just so different in terms of skill set that it's not going to be an auto loss on every other nomad. And Indifferences, what can we expect from this map? What's this map about, Kano?
So basically, when it comes to Indifferences, it seems like there's basically two sections. You have the beginning, which is focused on like a triangle, like, I guess, which does have the potential for some random misses to occur. And then in the second half, you have increased slider velocity, and you know that's probably the most common spot to move, due to the fact that they sort of like loop it and go over the top of each other. And the focus is mostly around the bottom half of the map as well, which is something to take. Some players, I mean, depending on the player, they might struggle with the bottom part of their screen, they might not. These days, a lot of players are used to going all over their screen when it comes to these aim maps. And
yeah, Yentis is definitely not feeling too well on this map. He already dropped a lot of accuracy on the beginning part, which was pretty much just a few bursts here and there. And then he missed on the triples, the triangle triples. So for now, it's still going to be a 4-NFC from South Korea to be expected for now. The second part, as you mentioned, is going to be a bit more slider heavy. It's going to start right about now.
So here we get into that section where we're going to expect some misses occurring, as we did see from Slender dropping as well. Yentis is actually holding on throughout this slider section. Goma also dropping there as well. Ooh. Belgium has an opportunity to make a comeback here. They have 3 FCs and Yentis with a high combo against 2 FCs.
That is a huge opportunity for the first map. They're slowly gaining the score advantage. They have the higher combos because South Korea missed 2. It's a 3 FC against 2 FCs, and Belgium is just holding on strong for this one.
Yeah, Belgium definitely proving very strong on this, actually. Despite Yentis having an early miss there, I mean, Gomo and Selena struggling with that slide. Mostly high accuracies across the board, besides the Koala, with a slight dip into 96%, but Karuna also having 1x100.
Yeah, that is actually a really good win by Belgium. Like 200,000 points.
Not only to mention that as well, but they did take South Korea's pick, so, you know, they can go for something that they're comfortable with.
Oh, they're going for the hidden too. That's Pendulum Crush, the Approach at 8 hidden map. That's the reading map of the entire... That's pretty much the reading map of the pool here. It's Approach at 8, so for people who don't know that, the usual approach is around 9 to 9.5, which is a moderately fast, but not too fast speed and not too slow, while Approach at 8 is a little bit slower, and that just means there's gonna be more nodes on the screen at once. And then you have it in a mod-specific bracket, which is hidden, so nodes are gonna disappear, and you're gonna have to keep track of all the nodes disappearing, and there's gonna be a bunch of them at the same time. And that's the difficulty of this map, pretty much. It's not too difficult in terms of how you have to aim at stuff. It is not mechanically demanding, but it is demanding in terms of reading ability.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's definitely nothing too complicated about the map itself, but the reading ability is definitely there. Like, I mean, when you put squares on, it's just quite a challenge as it is. And that's something that we see at the beginning of the map, along with some sort of flow-based patterns towards the end. And then you even have the 1-2 snap jumps right at the end, which is probably the most common spot where people will miss. But I mean, it depends on the player as well. And some people actually strike a couple of mind blocks on this as well. So I think honestly, when it comes to practice regimes, like people will probably want to play this map once, get a feel for it, and then probably not touch that map until the time comes, and then just hope that, you know, they play it on sight read and don't get any mind blocks whatsoever.
Yeah, there are some few key moments to look forward to where people might definitely break, I think. There's, for example, some of the longer single tap sequences. Something which people are not too good at are linear patterns. For example, imagine just tracking the circle, the circumference of the circle, and having just a few single taps all along the way. You have that kind of pattern, especially on approach to 8 hidden. That's gonna be really tough to just play properly for people who are not used to it. And Belgium picking this map, I'm gonna have high hopes for them to actually win this one. 5, Joshi is not loading currently in. Hopefully things are working out. Hopefully he's playing.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like he's fighting, but whether or not he's falling behind could be some sort of internet-related issue, but...
Yeah, right. But for now, there are gonna be no misses except for the one by Gomo. That's a 3-man SS for now, which at least shows that they did practice it a little bit. Well, and that's the 3-man SS gone from the Belgian team.
Still see Flying Tuna on an SS there as well, though. That triple into single start is actually really easy to trip up on and get some act drops there, but managing to get through that quite comfortably.
Oh, some of the more linear patterns, Hanori and Koala missing. Yentis did miss on the stream before. South Korea is looking a lot better on this one.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So far we've seen both of these teams looking very strong on each other's pick.
I think that's just the nature of how it works if you don't know both these rosters. I mean, there's not a lot you can go by most of the South Korean roster. There are some names you kind of see from here and there, but there's not too many recent tournament performances where you can easily gauge the skill and then have a clear idea of their entire team, especially for the Belgian team.
Yeah. I mean, so far it looks like this was a bit of a risky pick for Belgium. I mean, based on the way they're performing on it, they don't have a single FC at the moment. Gomo is the only person to have missed for South Korea, and so far, you know, you have Karuna and Flying Tuna on high accuracy along with that. Yoa, on the other hand, is actually managing to hit pretty much all the patterns required, but as you can see, the accuracy is dropping everything. Might have an opportunity to build that back up. We do see a section where there might be some misses coming in. Yentis dropping once again. Karuna also dropping there, but at this point, this is going to South Korea. By quite a convincing margin, over 1 million points. Both Flying Tuna and Yoa managing to hold on to those full combos. Flying Tuna with a 99.5.
And an unfortunate one miss by Karuna, who would have gotten a really good score on it. Also some slider breaks by Hanori, and in general, it looks like the accuracies are pretty even. I can't judge whether or not this was a good idea and a good pick, but just a bad execution, or if it was in general just a bad pick. It's pretty hard to tell here, because we don't have too much knowledge of them being good or bad on approach to 8 hidden.
Yeah, it definitely could have been one of those things that I did suggest earlier as well, where like maybe Belgium were practicing this quite a lot. Obviously, with it being their pick, they might have felt comfortable on it. But if they were practicing a lot, they might have also either hit the nerves boundary, or on top of that, they might have hit the mind block. And I mean, when you have both of those together, it's honestly just the worst experience. Having nerves and mind block issues, it's just not a fun time. So, you know, they might have been thinking, oh yeah, we're comfortable on this because they probably played it once on the day. But, you know, the more you play that map, the more you just start to struggle more and more, I believe.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on the player. But...
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes people might overestimate or underestimate them depending on the specific day. Like if you practice the entire pool and you want to try to see the alternate map and you're like, hey, that's pretty cool. and you forget that you pretty much just played alternate maps for an hour straight before it, so you're pretty much warmed up and you're on, just your aim is on point when it comes to these types of maps, and then you jump into the tournament match and all you do is warm up on generic maps, and then you jump right into the alternate pick, and you suddenly don't perform as well, and you just miss all around because you're just not feeling it there. So something people need to be aware of on the current state of their condition and how they perform, and then trying to replicate that on tournament day.
Yeah, I mean, you have those people who can pretty much just comfortably play anything they want, and you have people who are very good at playing one specific thing, and then when they switch, they can start playing that different thing, but then when they go back to the one that they were practicing originally, it just doesn't work out for them as well as intended. So...
Oh, and the Badewanne, the bathtub, did join the lobby for the Belgian team for the double time pick from South Korea, I believe. It's gonna be Haneno Nakicho, which is the other double time pick, which is still open. The first one did get banned. And let's see if it was a good idea to ban the double time 1 pick. This one's a bit slower. It still has a few more thing control-y aspects, like it has a few doubles which you need to pay attention to. But in essence, it's a pretty straightforward double time pick. There's nothing too spicy about it.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Falls, it's pretty much very straightforward, especially for a map of its time. It is quite an...
Well, I think it has aged pretty decently. Like, it's still fun for players who just joined a few years ago.
Yeah, I think honestly, like, it still has that, like, 2013, 2014 feel to it, despite it being a little tiny bit older than... I mean,
just a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah, arguably speaking, you could still say it kind of fits similar to some modern map. It's really hard to say because 2018 has definitely had quite a shift in some mapping. As
yeah.
For better, for worse, it's hard to say. It really depends on the person, but I'm not going to argue that topic right now.
It's subjective, no kudoso. So something I have to, do have to mention is the stats at the bottom of your screen of the map. You do see the length and the BPM, but something you have to take into account is that mods are not applied. This is double time, so the map is gonna play it 1.5 times faster. So in essence, the length is going to be a little bit shorter. The BPM you have to multiply by 1.5, which is gonna be, if I do it in my head, like 216. No, 200 like 14 something. I can't do math under pressure.
You've definitely got some NA. You've definitely got some NA.
Yeah, I should be good at maths. But the approach rate also should be like around 9.6, and the star rating is definitely not 3.9 if you look at the map currently.
Yeah, this map definitely surpasses the 5-star limit. Just based on the style of map it is, it has quite a bit of an aim component to it, so...
There are a few misses coming in from Belgium. Hanori did miss, there's only one FC left, while the Korean team is looking a little bit more comfortable on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seems like it's a good idea for Belgium to have banned that first double time. Just based on how they're performing on this one. Yentis is obviously having a really, unfortunately the rest of the team for Belgium is not really there to back him up for this one. So Lina has been the only person to drop on the side of South Korea, and one thing as well I want to mention is that Karuna has actually been having an outstanding performance throughout this entire tournament. So just like one of the high accuracy players who is managing to hold, you know, full combo or high combo on some map could be someone to look out for in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Korean roster does seem pretty promising for now. It's probably not going to be a top contender for top 4. That's something I have to say. But something like along the lines of top 8 might be more the lines of being possible. I mean, hey, heck, if they get a really good run, I mean, pretty much everything should be possible. Alright, the next pick is gonna be Rave Terrorism by the Belgian team. So they're going for the alt pick, so they're gonna just continue going with normal because Haley just didn't work out. It's alright. It actually surprises me. They picked Indifferences, which is one of the easier maps in the pool, I'd say. Like, if you use for tech maps, it's not that difficult. You shouldn't really miss too often on it. So you can mostly expect like 4 to 6 FCs in a lobby when you see differences. But this one and the hidden pick, you might see a lot less FCs, mostly because people are not used to it. And this alternate pick, there's a lot of missed potential there, and I think Belgium needs some more easy maps to maybe get almost a 4 FC and have South Korea just miss out of, I don't know, just a blunder, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as they've mentioned previously, I did say that Belgium mentioned they have some really, really good accuracy-based players. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they should be able to maybe 4-man FC and battle South Korea in terms of accuracy. So, as you know, we could probably expect something a little bit easier than this. I think the alternating pick and, you know, the area hidden, they're going with some really, really risky picks here. I mean, maybe they're doing it in hopes that South Korea will miss and they'll have a 4-man FC. I mean, it's really hard to say what their thought process is behind this one. Whatever it is, I mean, they're doing it.
Yeah, they're definitely doing it. Of all the picks of the map, well, this is definitely one of them. And let's see how it's gonna happen and just end up going. I do have to admit though, being a lower seed, going for the spicier picks in the pool is mostly a strategy which you only do if you're extremely confident in your ability.
Yeah,
because,
I mean, I would say
higher ranked players. I mean, Kano, you pretty much you're I guess low digit right now. Are you 4 digit or are you 3 digits? I don't know.
I mean, I'm the same digit as you fours. don't get
you
too
actually
confused.
are. Oh my god, you sandbagger! How dare you, Kano? I respected you a lot more. Oh man, how things have changed. But yeah, I mean, the higher you really go in ranks, the more chances or the more likely it is that you do just dabble into different aspects of the game. Like, how you get your rank and your PP is gonna be a little bit different of what you might try to practice and get better at. Because some things just don't give PP but make you a better player. And alternating is one of the things.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, we might see some surprises here from the Belgian side. They might have some wild ultimate. But with that said, we do see Yentis and Hinori dropping right at the beginning there. Bit of an offset in that regard.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna expect like 2 FCs, not too many. I'd be positively surprised if it's like 4 FCs. But around 2 to 3 seems pretty reasonable. I think Flying Toon is definitely a player to watch out for. Gomu as well, I mean, he's just a really good tournament player all around, so I guess you can pretty much make a case for him on every map. On the Belgian side, I don't know, they should have to surprise me here. It's looking alright for now, but the Koala definitely is struggling with the accuracy. Which is costing them a lot of points.
The Koala appears to be single tapping quite a lot of this and alternating pretty much only when a single node, but pretty much at this point we need to see South Korea drop 1 or 2 in order for any form of comeback. I would say 1 maybe about now, or 2 probably very close to the end, because as we can see, Yentis and Hinori are only about 100 combo behind, so Selena, Selena, that's huge. That is an opportunity for a comeback here from Belgium.
That's extremely huge, as long as Belgium is gonna hold it, and they're holding it. I mean, they're 200,000 points behind, but there's still so much map left. Belgium is currently in the driver's seat. If they miss, they're just gonna lose it.
Yeah,
they're gonna lose the advantage.
From this point, there's nothing too tricky. I mean, the map plays pretty much very similar. That one split section there that we saw with the triangles was probably one of the few common spots where a lot of people miss on this map. But I mean, unless you have a random slip up... Oh, F-Blade on the slow section! What happened?
Oh man, were those nerfs or was it just a blunder? That's really unfortunate. Because that's gonna give the advantage right back to South Korea.
Yeah, F-Blade unfortunately dropping there, which is basically completely turning the tables of this match. This was definitely looking to go in Belgium's way, providing they managed to hold on to all of their combos, but F-Blade dropping on the slow section out of all places. Gomo also dropping at the end there. That would have been it for Belgium if it wasn't for that slight slip-up from F-Blade. Flying Tuna with a solid 2x100 score, along with Selena 1x100, 1
I'm actually positively surprised by the Belgian team getting 1 FC and 2 almost FCs, I'd guess. Both of those 1K combos. South Korea is pretty much how I would have expected it. There's gonna be 2 FCs, one almost FC or something close to it, and one guy just slider breaking, unfortunately, but having a really good accuracy. Now, sometimes that's just a life. That's just how life is on alternate maps. But I'd say it is, or it was a good idea, just judging by Belgium's performance in general on the map. It's not too bad of an idea to pick it. It's still
Yeah,
something which maybe is more of a coin toss, or like a 40-60 for Korea, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, despite having those 2 early drops from the Belgian players, I mean, NF Blade dropping in that spot, which he's gonna be kicking himself. You gotta feel bad for the guy. He is not going into these next few maps with, you know, the greatest mindset after that one, but... Because I'd say that was probably one of the biggest difference makers.
Alright. Oh, and a 100 by Karuna. That is a really good accuracy on the tournament performance. Pretty good act from Flying Tuna and Gomu as well, getting the 3 and 4 100s respectively. The other ones, you can definitely see it's either easily around the 1-digit mark, or it's 2 digits and pretty high up there. Ram, for example, messing up some of the jump streams and thus getting a bunch of 100s and 50s. Hanori, for example, having those 50s, getting them all on a single jump stream.
Yeah, Yenta's also having very solid accuracy there, despite not actually getting a full combo on that map. Only 2 100s and they...
Ooh, and the next map is going to be Solar, a hidden map. Is there what should we pay attention to on this one, Kano?
Well, this map basically features I would say this is kind of split into 2 separate sections. You can kind of expect some aim aspect in the beginning, followed by some stream aspect towards the end of it. Some of the streams are quite tricky to read on Hidden in particular, but nothing too difficult for a group stage level. Honestly, these teams should be pretty comfortable on a map like this. You could probably expect misses on either one of the 2 sections depending on what the players are comfortable on or what they're most likely to miss on.
Who do you think is gonna be favored in this one?
I mean, it's hard to say. If this is Belgium's pick, I mean, you would hope that they're confident. I would say it's definitely one of the few easier maps in the pool in comparison to what they have been picking. So maybe Belgium might have the upper hand, but at the same time, with how South Korea performed on that last one, this map is kind of similar but in different ways. Like, it's not too tricky, but it's got that generic aspect. And with how South Korea performed in terms of their accuracy, I think they're definitely going to be looking very strong on this one in particular.
Yeah, we did see the approach to the 8 hidden performances. It doesn't say too much about having just a normal map on hidden. So in that case, we're gonna just let us be surprised by Belgium's performance here.
Yeah, I mean, this one could go either way. It is a pick that pretty much, it just comes down to who misses, if anyone actually misses. But yeah, with how Belgium performed on the last one, it could be a bit of a risky pick once again, but have to see whether or not they have those strong hidden players coming in.
Alright, and the match point is gonna start. This is the potentially last map of this match, Belgium against South Korea. Belgium being the first team being streamed on the OWC live stream. Definitely gonna feel a bit of nerves. Badewanne is going to miss. Gomu is going to miss. Those are some really early misses. 5 Josh is also gonna miss. Karuna is gonna miss. Everyone is losing it. There's just 2 FCs from both teams.
This is actually quite a surprise. I mean, we're seeing pretty much the complete opposite. I was talking about this map being one of the easier ones in the pool, but we're seeing misses all over the place from Karuna, Gomu, Badewanne, 5 Joshi. I mean, it's going back and forth between the 2 teams right now, but it definitely seems like South Korea, with that AC advantage, they're looking to take this one away. Coming into the more streamier section here, though, could see some AC drops. 5 Joshi once again dropping that combo there.
Yeah, this would be actually the part where I'm gonna expect a few misses. That's another miss by Badewanne. Some of the streams are gonna start. Badewanne is struggling slightly on it. Everyone else is holding. Gomu is gonna miss again. But Badewanne and 5 Joshi missing so many times in a row is going to offset Gomu missing. Karuna is still holding strong with his 600 combo.
Some outstanding performances from Hanori, Flying Tuna, and Karuna at the moment. Karuna obviously having that drop early, but the accuracy is just ridiculous on this map.
On point. And I think that's gonna be match point and the match for South Korea.
Yeah, Korea will be taking this one 5-1. Belgium definitely put up a very solid fight. I mean, we saw some potential upsets almost coming. I would say, like, you know, they had a very, very close chance on Rewire, and if that was the case, they might have had more picks up their sleeve. But yeah, that will be South Korea taking that one 5-1.
Yeah, it's not too much of an upset or a surprise because South Korea is the high seed and Belgium is the lowest, the unseeded team. So in essence, also the lowest unseeded team in the tournament. And I was surprised by the fight they put up. They got pretty close on some of the picks, and they even got 1 point off of South Korea. But it wasn't too big of a surprise. This is pretty much the expected outcome for, I guess, most of the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, definitely based on the seeds as well. But I mean, Belgium still has a chance. It's just that their chances are definitely not looking good, you know, when they've got the high seed to face off against as well, which is Brazil.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just like a scary team. But again, it's a group stage pool. There is a possibility for upsets to happen, and if there's any place, it's this place.
And if you look at it, to potentially come out of the group stage into the brackets, Belgium needs to win against Brazil, the first seeded, the highest seeded team, the top seed of the group, which is gonna be even harder. And then they have to believe that South Korea doesn't win against Brazil, otherwise, or I think things are gonna look pretty bad. And then they still have Singapore, who's a scary team. So it's gonna be a tough wait.